Daylight, my MVVs, welcome. Yes, so my people, elders say no ritual, no right. Ooni of Ife's palace elders explode over incomplete right by some of the Oloris who are claiming to have their name, legally, traditionally written in the palace marriage registry. It is not a small thing that is going on in the palace. There's heavy pandemonium in the palace of the Ooni of Ife over what is said to be a desecration of the Yoruba tradition right there in the palace of the Ooni of Ife. Our people say, that a god that didn't pass through the river bank shouldn't claim it fetch water. It is not a small something de la right. So, wahala that is happening in the palace of the Ooni of Ife right now is not a small something. As we all know, the palace of the Ooni of Ife is the traditional, hub of the Yoruba people, And recently, they said there is tension as ancient traditions and spiritual ordinances have been called into question following the shocking discovery that several Oloris, wives of the Ooni of Ife, allegedly entered into the palace registry without completing the necessary traditional right that qualifies them to bear the title of Olori in the house of Oduduwa. Now, I'm taking it very easy because I know that some of my beautiful Delarites, they say, Delaram, take it easy, Delaram, take it easy, you're too fast, you're too fast. Okay, I am here because of you, all of you, from the smallest to the biggest, from the youngest to the oldest. I wouldn't be here without you. So you see, that is why I know the carry una play. Anybody will play with una go just say, I don't carry my mouth, bite person for bum. I'll take it easy now going forward. Okay, my lovers. Now, as a wife to the Ooni of Ife, you must be fully initiated. For the uninitiated, in Ile-Ife, that we all know is the cradle of Yoruba civilization, marriage to Kabiyesi is not just a union of love or politics. It is a sacred covenant that requires deep spiritual cleansing. Delarat, are you guys hearing me? Approval of the gods and full initiation into the cultural code of the royal household. And these are not just any right. They are centuries or rituals whose omission can bring spiritual unrest, confusion in the palace, and even, repercussions for the land. Delaram Sopo. It is not a small something as we are hearing. According to highly placed palace sources, the elders recently conducted a secret audit of the palace registry after they got an information that something might be going wrong. And this information came to them by Paropo. It went first to the Ooni of Ife. Ooni of Ife looked at it and saw that the beautiful, gorgeous doctor, prophetess, the beautiful woman's name was not on that register. Nami that has done all the 13 rituals. The rituals that today I'm going to give you the names of the 13 rituals, that each wife is supposed to do. Now, in 2015, when Ooni of Ife was made the Ooni, for those of you who have been following since then, remember there was this thing with politics where they started saying that he must marry a Edo blood, royalty from an Edo lineage, that it will enhance, his productivity on the throne and is going to make his reign last forever. They recommended Wurola. And so he agreed because he was a new king at that time. He was not used to, the political atmosphere of the palace. At that point, he was new. He felt like, for me to reign and be successful, I must listen to everything the elders tell me. And he went ahead and married Wurola. And if you have been following the trend of events from that time, you get to understand that Ooni of Ife and Wurola had no chemistry, like zero chemistry. As a matter of fact, if you want to compare Wurola's marriage to the marriages he just had, these women he just married, I can tell you that Ooni of Ife and even, who should I even mention? Even Ikpi, they have more chemistry than Ooni of Ife and Wurola before. Now, may I even remind you that Wurola did not do the 15 rituals. I mean, the 13 rituals. She didn't. And that was why it was so easy for her to leave. When she moved out of the palace, though she moved quietly, it was easy for Wurola to go. Because Wurola did just 3 rituals like all of these Oloris. And Wurola's name is not in that register. So if Wurola, who was married in 2015, never had her name in that register, why should these ones have? The only woman in the life of the Ooni of Ife whose name is on that register that did the 13 ritual is Queen Naomi. And wait until I begin to list the rituals for you. And now when they did the audit of the register, they found out that a lot has gone wrong with the register. A lot. This register is a very, very important document that is in the palace of the Ooni of Ife. And from generation to generation, like you can see, that is why you see they have an archive. And that is why they have one of the richest archives in the world. Let me tell you something. The reason why you see the Yoruba tradition and culture is respected all over the world is not because it is, because they have a lot of Yoruba people. It's not because of anything. It is because they have been able to preserve their culture. They have been able to preserve their tradition. You know, they are like the Edo people. Their culture, their tradition has been so preserved. They're not the agree. Okay? And that is why the seat of the Ooni of Ife is very, very important. Now, Yoruba people, I want you to go and make your findings. They have one of the richest archives in the world. Now, you can begin to go there. If you go to their library, you will see, Oloris that have served the entire time. And I want to tell you that the Oloris whose names are in that register are those who have completed their 13 rituals. Now, you can, in the days of the past, there are Oloris who got married to the Ooni of Ife and, they did the first to the 3rd ritual, they did not complete it. Now, maybe because the king himself was not sure at the time. Then they got into the 5th year, the 10th year, the king now get really, really close, loving the Olori very well. They go and complete the ritual. Then that person's name enters the register. Now, when you go to the register, you see all the Oloris, you see all the Oloris, you see all the Onis. So right now, from 2015, where Kabiyesi became the Ooni of Ife, the one Olori whose name is in that register is Queen Naomi. But when they did the audit, what they saw, they could not believe their eyes. Like, they couldn't even believe what they were seeing. What they found in that register sent chills down the spine of the custodian of Yoruba heritage. Some names had been entered who, by every traditional standard, had no business being there. They have not completed their full ritual. That is, they had bypassed the Oro. There's this ORO, okay, that I talked about. There's this Isese ritual. There's this Imole. There's this Igbele. There's Efun. And I will name them in the next chapter, okay, because it's long. And other core rituals required to full integration into the Oni's household. Now, the elders are furious and they are not keeping quiet anymore. They say this is getting out of hand. I don't know if I need to go back to explaining most of these rituals because I did yesterday. The Oro ritual is one of the most feared and sacred initiation in the Yoruba spiritual system. For any woman entering the palace as a wife, she must undergo Oro, a nighttime spiritual purification, right, that silences her past and opens her spirit to the ancestral forces that rule Ile Ife, okay? Now, missing Oro means the Olori has not been spiritually introduced to the ancestors. It is like walking into the Holy of Holies without, consecration. To bypass this is not only an abomination, it is considered a threat to the entire spiritual balance of Ile Ife. Now, let's talk about the Isese ritual, okay? Isese ritual. Isese, which means tradition, is the core binding oath that any woman must swear to toe before becoming an Olori. It is not just a ceremony. It is a full spiritual, contract that binds her to the ancient Yoruba gods, especially Ogun, Obatala, and Osun. It ensures that she will uphold the dignity of the royal house and never bring shame to the land. So do you see why all of these things are happening? Because they have nothing to lose. They have not gone through these rituals, okay? Now, the elders are saying some of these women never swore the, Isese oath. In their word, you cannot eat the king's food and live in the king's house if you have not sworn before the gods. One elder even lamented, what are we seeing in a spiritual coup? Okay, women who have not pledged to the gods are occupying sacred space. Okay, now we have the Imole too, the elimination rite. Okay, Imole in Yoruba, it means light. I have explained this before, but I'm just doing this in the interest of those who are just joining, who don't understand this, okay? And this ritual represents spiritual enlightenment and clarity. Every incoming Olori must undergo Imole to remove confusion, darkness, and ignorance from her soul, so she does not bring chaos into the Ooni of Ife's palace. So now this explains the reason why you see all of these things. They just keep doing this because, yes, this is beginning to make so much sense, okay? If all the information we continue to hear is the truth, okay, remember, this is beginning to make all the sense, because you will be wondering, people have been asking, why are they behaving like this? Why are they behaving like this? One would have thought that they've taken some kind of oath and all of that. They say these oaths were not carried out. This is what is happening in Ile Ife. They say a woman who has not undergone Imole cannot serve a spiritual support, okay? Cannot serve as a spiritual support for the Oni. Instead, she becomes a vessel of confusion. Elders claim that recent unrest in the palace, including eternal rivalry and disrespect, may be linked to the absence of this right in the lives of these uninitiated Oloris. Now we have the Igbele seclusion of rebed. I'm not going to, explain that right now because this video is going to be too long. I'm going to carry it over to the next topic because we already have 12 minutes. Delarite, I hope you understand what's going on. They say Wahala just full everywhere because they are saying it cannot happen. It cannot happen, oh, Delarite, this is what they are saying. When I started, I said something. A god that didn't pass through the riverbank shouldn't claim it fetched water. This is what they are saying. Did you pass through the riverbank? How come you're bringing water? Where is the water coming from? Hey. This is what is going on in the palace of the Ooni of Ife. Confusion everywhere. Kitty, kata, kata, kitty, everybody is running. When you people think that you will continue to fight Olori Nami, I have said one thing. You said, Nami is my favorite. I love that lady so much. And I used to say something. I say, whether Nami goes to Timbuktu and marries another man, whether anything, I will follow Nami. Because one thing about me, when I love, okay? When you think you're fighting Nami, you're fighting God. And when the battle comes, you will not be able to stand it. Let's see what happens to them now that they have done the unthinkable. I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget that these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.